mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch it so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about Season 5, Episode 4 of Sky TV's Gomorrah. I mentioned in Episode 3's video that that episode was a little bit, not too much happened, not a very explosive episode. Still good, just not, not explosive or anything like that. This one had some really big moments. In this episode, we see Genny finish off essentially the last of the Levantes. They are completely off the board. And then we see Federico make a couple of big moves as well. So I'm going to start with what I think is the best scene of the episode, which is the end. We see Chiro arrive back in Naples at the end of episode 3. And in this episode, he kind of builds a crew. Counter to that, we see Genny, from his perspective, wiping everyone off the board. He wipes off the Levantes, which I'll talk about in detail in a moment. And then he also wipes out the gentleman, who we find out his name is Don Vincenzo. He gets rid of him, but how can you account for this? He fails to account for this guy's wife, and she's not off the board at all. So anyway, Chiro gets back. He's amassing a crew. He sends Pitbull. We get a nice reunion with him and Pitbull. He sends Pitbull over to essentially bring Enzo and his crew to meet with him. Enzo and his crew meet with him and kind of essentially they pledge their loyalty to him, which I thought this was interesting because, tell me if I'm remembering this wrong, but doesn't Enzo think that Chiro killed his sister? Like, I don't know, he pledged loyalty to him like just instantly. But on the other hand, this is a guy who you saw literally get shot and dumped in the river alive right before your eyes. A guy who is called the Immortal and literally just will not die. So it's like, on one hand, even if I don't like that they didn't address it, and I could be remembering it wrong, but so it's like, on one hand, maybe he did, he does think that Chiro might have killed his sister, but on the other hand, it's like literally seeing a ghost, right? So Chiro's amassing a crew while Genny's wiping everyone else off the board, and at the end of the episode, Genny goes back into his new place, which is fancy as fuck, and sees two of his guys hanged and the words "The Immortal is back" spray painted across like an overpass kind of wall. And man, what a sick shot, what a sick moment. And Genny's got to be sick because he's got to think like, this guy will not die. How is he possibly here? And he's knocked out some of my guys, and just when I thought everything was wrapping up perfectly, here's Chiro again to kind of like ruin everything. And I thought it was such a great ending to that episode. But a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about as well. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm kind of lost on my notes here. Oh, okay, I talked about that scene. I also already talked. I kind of already talked about a lot of the stuff I have here about the thing with Enzo and thinking his sister might have been killed by Chiro, and that comparison. So another scene in this episode that I thought was really good was the Levantes go to the gentleman and essentially accuse him of not being robbed, but actually siding with Genny and taking, being paid to lose their shipment. And he essentially agrees to work with them and go against Gennaro, which the scene ended pretty well, which I thought was kind of cool. Is his wife comes in and essentially like, I've heard all the shit. Why does his wife dress like the maid, by the way? When she walked in, it did not enter my mind that he had that was his wife. Like, she totally looked like the maid. But she essentially is like, yeah, I've heard all this shit about your word before, but you should not have dealt with them. Like, you should have said no, and we would have just paid our debt like normal. But he agrees to do it, and ultimately it doesn't work out. And I like how they played this scene out, because, and when I say this scene, I mean this set of events, because he sends I don't even know if they've named this guy, but his like main henchman that's always with him. They send him to this salon, and he gets one of Federico's guys, who they call Pretty Eyes, who is literally getting like his eyebrows tweezed or something when this happens, which I just pieced that together just now while I was talking, that they called him Pretty Eyes. And that must be why, because he's always getting like his eyebrows threaded or some shit. And that's where he gets killed at. Which is, again, another interesting kind of like tie-in with The Godfather. Because in The Godfather 2, when Michael's wiping everyone off the table, I forget his name, but it's around the tip of my tongue too. But he shoots the one guy through the eye that was wearing his glasses while he was getting massaged. And now this guy, Pretty Eyes, gets shot in the head while he's getting his eyebrows done or something like that. Like that, there's no way that's coincidental, right? They got to be doing this on purpose. But he shoots that guy, and then he tells the other guy there, that's a message for anybody who fucks with Genny that, that's what happens. And then when Genny gets the gentleman killed, which I thought was a cool shot, by the way. He gets, again, a Godfather type thing. He gets this, I'm assuming it was some sort of bread from this bakery or whatever, and he's driving away, and there's like a cool shot. It's just like a drone, and it's like flying down, and you see it kind of like swooping down toward his vehicle. Then the motorcycle pulls up on the side, and they shoot into the car, which we've seen people killed on this show in that way 8 million times, so you should have seen that coming. And then the drone continues to move down, and it stops in the window and like turns in there, and you can see him all shot up. I thought that was a really cool shot. But he ends up getting shot, and who ends up getting Pretty Eye's spot? Federico, who apparently flipped on Levante's, and I'm not incredibly clear on how. I know that Genny had a conversation with his brother Cosimo that kind of said like, you need to, talk to your boy and figure out. I don't know if that just happened off screen and Cosimo convinced him, or if Genny convinced him, or if this was his plan the whole time. I'm not quite sure on that, but for whatever reason, Federico is at a dinner with all of the Levantes. He takes Gracia out just to, to talk, to get some fresh air, but he knew that they were about to come in and do what they do. And they drive off, and as they're driving away, in come Maestral and a couple of other guys, and they completely destroy every last shred of the remaining Levantes in a really cool scene. And then he argues with Grazia. She's kind of like, yeah, what did she say? Something like I'd have killed you anyway later. And then he kills her. And yeah, so that's a cold-blooded brother right there. Even though he's got that goofy ass hair, just like Flanders. What's his actual, The Graduate, I think is his nickname. But yeah, just like Flanders was a cold-blooded motherfucker. He didn't look like it, but he was. So yeah, I thought that was a nice way for that to kind of come around with the Pretty Eyes being taken off of the board for siding with Gennaro, and then ultimately Federico takes his spot, who in front of everyone else was saying that they should align with the Levante. So a weird kind of like twist of fates there. So there was something that when I watched this episode the first time, I didn't have the best captions. And I asked in the Reddit group, the subreddit about Gomorrah, what happened in this scene, because I felt like the subtitles weren't very clear. But there's a scene where Gennaro meets with a bunch of businessmen. And in this scene, essentially what happens, because when I watched it this time with good subtitles, it was perfectly clear to me what was happening. He essentially took out $10 million, and he is giving each of these people, I'm assuming it was 10 people, I didn't count the table, but he's giving them, I said dollars, it's euros technically, but he's giving them each €1 million for essentially stake in their company. And there's this one loudmouth guy. I don't know why people are talking to him like they don't know who he is. But this guy's kind of like, oh, so what are you going to do? Bring in your people and make us change up how we do things? And he gets like a full-on smart mouth attitude. And Genny's just like, nope, all I want is a portion of your company that's the same value as the €1 million that I'm offering. And essentially all he's doing is he just wants to have some ownership in legitimate businesses so that he can launder money. Pretty simple and straightforward. And the guy's like, oh, so all you want to do is launder money? And Gennaro's like, yeah, yeah, I do want to launder money. And eventually they all take the $1 million. And so like now things are, at this point in the episode, everything looks perfect for Gennaro. Like he's got the Levantes off the board. He's now got ownership stake in 10 legitimate businesses that he can use to launder money. He's got the gentleman off the board as well. So from his perspective, he's good. He's good. Like he owns everything. He runs everything. He has no competition, and he has some clean businesses that he could clean his money through, and everything's smooth. But there's no way he could account for the wife and there's no way he could account for Chiro. And that was such a great scene at the end. I can't get over how good that scene was. A couple of thoughts before I wrap this one up. This is going to be a short one, but a couple of thoughts before I wrap this one up. I love how when Gennaro's first looking at this new place that he's looking for, that instantly Maestro's wife becomes like an interior decorator. It's like, you can put this there, you can put this there. This bedroom's perfect for these people. Like, it was a very, very interesting selling of him, trying to sell him on this place that, I mean, look at this place. I doubt he needed to be sold on it too much. I love the presentation of that house key that he sent to Azura. And like that was incredibly extravagant. Like I just love that. But then I also loved the scene at the swim school because it's brilliant how they played it right after the wife, the Godfather, the gentleman's wife says something like, "Doesn't Gennaro Salvatore have a wife and kid?" And you go, "Oh shit!" And in the very next scene, Azura's at this like swim school and can't find Pietro. And you're thinking like, oh my God, did this go so bad? And that was a tense scene because you're thinking like, oh my goodness, no, they did not kill this guy's son. But eventually we see Pietro and he's representing the gift that Azura had sent back, that key. And everything's fine other than we now know that Gennaro's not taking her, trying to walk away from him lightly. But yeah, I thought that was a great scene because they did it brilliantly by having that scene right after the wife asking about his family. So that's really all I got for this episode. If you want to look back at episode 3, if you haven't watched it, on my video for episode 3, I kind of give a rundown at the beginning of how I plan on releasing these episodes. So I'm going to release these 2 today, maybe tomorrow morning, but like it kind of depends on the way the rest of my night goes. And then look for videos for episodes 5 and 6 on probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, something like that. But so far, I think season 5 is done setting the table now. Everyone's off the board. We now know that it's really just Gennaro versus Chiro, Enzo and his guys, and then also the gentleman's wife. We don't know what role she's going to play. And then we know that he's working on building up some sort of money laundering operation. So I feel like they're done setting the table. And now in these last 6 episodes, we're really going to see some fireworks. So I look forward to watching those. I already have episodes 5 and 6. I'm going to watch them probably tomorrow or something like that. Try to get through them twice if I can to make sure that I can understand it so I can fully explain to you guys what happens in the episodes. And I'll see you guys then. Peace.